No! I have failed the Arb! I have failed the beings of this universe who have done no wrong! I cannot stand this anymore! I must collect myself, believe in myself, harness the power of the Arb, and I will become...
Hunter Knight Tsurugi, defender of the weak and innocent, the avenger of lost souls. Through my pain and sorrow, I will seek out revenge across the universe and hunt down the most vile beings. Nothing will stop me in my quest to protect the righteous and uphold morality.
Wow, he went a bit overboard this time, didn't he?
Yes, but what I would like to know is when the emo kids started using tinfoil for their costumes.
Hello collectors, it's Steven here bringing you a review of the Ultra Act Hunter Knight Tsurugi. This Bandai Premium webshop exclusive of a fan favorite with a sleek, edgy design attracted a good amount of attention when it was first announced. But does it live up to the hype? Is this knight worthy of being on your shelf? Well, let's take a look to see whether or not it's worth adding into your collection. Our Hunter Knight friend here looks rather nice with simple yet well-executed paint apps. The silver and blue mix well on this figure, quite possibly the best yet for a Blue Ultra. What's even better is there's little to no possible paint slop. Looking at the head up close, you can see the nice detailing for the armor, and this is consistent throughout the figure. Looking at the chest, again the nice detail, and the gold marking for where the color timer would be is nicely applied. But keep in mind one fall and the thin silver paint will be scratched on the rest of the body. Now the arms. A bit of slop to be expected unfortunately, but I guess such is life. It's nice to see though that the multicolored plastic joint for the elbow returns. Great to see the consistency there. As you would expect, legs look fine too. And real quick, dim love handles. Tsurugi looks good. Hunter Knight Tsurugi's articulation is rather standard for the Ultra Act line, and it's rather good. So if you're familiar with one, you're familiar with all. So starting off the articulation, we have the head, which is attached to the neck on a ball joint, and the neck is attached into the body on a ball joint too. So you get plenty of left and right movement. That's about as far as Tsurugi can look down, and about as far as he can look up, which is pretty great movement. Moving down, we have the shoulders, which are attached into the body on ball joints, which is awesome, and the shoulders themselves house hinges. So as you can see, that's about as far as you can raise the arm up. But do take note, it's very similar to Hikari, to the point where if you don't move the ball joint down, you're going to get less articulation, as you can see here from the right arm compared to the left arm. So do keep in mind the shoulder pads can block articulation. Speaking of the shoulder pads, they're on ball joints, though rather small, and you're not going to get too much movement, but they are there. Below that, we have a bicep swivel, which is standard for the Ultra Act line. We have double hinged elbows, which is great. Then we have the wrist joints, which are your average swivel hinge combo, which gives you the ball joint range of movement, basically. And then the hands are attached on a ball joint so they can swivel independently. Moving on down for the ab crunch, we have a ball joint, which has some pretty great movement compared to, say, Hikari's, but do keep in mind we do have this pointy point back here, pointy point, which can cause scalp damage if you're not too careful when moving the ab crunch backwards. Moving down, we have the waist joint, which is on a ball joint, and this is where you really need to be mindful of the spiky parts on the back. But we get some great movement here, and realistically speaking, that's about as far back as Hikari can bend, and that's as far forward, which is great. Continuing downward on Hikari, we have pull-down hinges at the hips, and then the thighs are attached to the hips on ball joints. That's about as far back as the leg can go, and then in there, we do have an extra swivel joint, so this way we can get a little bit more movement. Continuing on down, we have double hinge knees, which are awesome. For the ankles, we have a swivel hinge combo, so this way we get standard ankle movement, twisting and turning, and we do get some ankle rocker movement, which is always a plus. Finally, wrapping up articulation, Tsurugi has a toe hinge, which allows you to move the toes up and down like so. Pretty great movement. Being a beefed-up version of Hikari, the accessories for Hunter Knight Tsurugi are almost identical to Hikari's. So first off, we have two different sets of hands aside from the standard fists, which are attached. Chopping hands, as you can see over here on the left hand, and splayed hands, as you can see here. Now to swap the hands out, all you have to do is grip the currently attached hand and pull. May be a bit difficult for you, and if that's the case, don't worry. Just heat up the hands in any way you see fit, whether it's blow dryer or with water. Hot water, mind you. And then wiggle them on to the ball joint. Now, this is silver swirly plastic which is used for the wrist joints on Hunter Knight Tsurugi, so be careful of the plastic weakening over time. I know that may not necessarily be an issue with Bandai's plastic, but I have heard some other companies which that can be an issue. Once again, a standard for the Ultra Act line, we get this back piece which can be swapped out right here, which is a Stage Act adapter, once you figure out how to line it up correctly. And once you do, you don't need to use a claw to support Tsurugi on your shelf. Like Hikari, Tsurugi comes with the Night Blade, and the sculpt is pretty much identical with the awesome red gem down here, which is encased in the plastic, and it's an alternate attachment part for the Night Brace. Like the other Mebius-related figures, you have the brace here, and you just have to be careful when popping this off. It may be difficult for your first time, as it may be for other things which are firsts. As you can see here, I'm sort of struggling, but once you do pop it off, be careful because it may fly to the other side of the room, and then all you have to do is line up the pegs on the brace with the holes in the arm, and now our knight has a sword to hunt down some kaiju. Now, something to keep in mind, I'll lift the arm up here so you can see, the brace isn't inserted fully. I tried to push this in off camera, and it's not going in all the way. So be careful that you don't accidentally snap off a part, because if you do that, you're not going to be able to swap out anything anymore. And last up, we have a new Night Shot. Now, the reason why I say this is new is if you compare it with Hikari's Night Shot, side by side, you can see that though it might be the same sculpt, the translucent plastic which is used for Hunter Knight Tsurugi's is much thicker, and the paint finish on the chopping hand is darker and not as pearlescent. But anyway, attaching this to Tsurugi is rather easy. Just like you would swap out a hand, you first pop off the hand, and then you line up the ball joint with the chopping hand the beam is attached to, and there you go. Now Tsurugi is firing off his beam. So for accessories, admittedly, rather light, but there really isn't too much extra that could have been included with the character. Perhaps maybe something extra for Mebius? But even then, what we get for our money is pretty good. And here's a size comparison for you, since you need to know how big he is. About as big you would expect, no surprises here. So, buy it now, skip, or wait for a good bargain deal. Tsurugi looks nice, and it's a great looking Ultra. Accessories are about what you would expect, and posing is nice considering the armor. A must-have for Hikari and Mebius fans alike, so if you're interested, pick him up before he reaches stupid prices. He's already climbing up on the aftermarket. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like the video and subscribe. What do you think of the figure? Drop a comment down below and let me know. Interested in picking this one up? Check the description for some really cool links to take you where you need to go. Want to watch some more videos? I picked a few just for you, so click the annotations on your screen right now for more great content. Until next time, collectors!